What's up, booktube? Welcome back. My name is Laura if you're new here, and today I'm talking about all the books that I read in December. So December was kind of a weird month for reading. I was doing really well in the first half of the month and then just nothing for the last half of the month, which does make sense because holiday that I got very busy. I'm trying to run around, do all my shopping last minute and all that stuff, so did not have much time for reading, but I did read a couple of really fun holiday stuff, some spicier holiday stuff, which we'll get into momentarily, and overall it was a pretty solid reading month in terms of quality. I actually really enjoyed everything that I read for the most part. In December I read a total of 1,477 pages, which I think is a little bit less than I would normally do, but whatever, I was busy, not a big deal. I read a total of 7 books, which did include 2 very short ones that were under 100 pages each. So technically I read 5 novels and 2 short stories basically. But either way, I had a great time last month, so let's just get right into it. The first book that I read was The Holiday Swap by Maggie Knox. This one is a adult contemporary romance set around the holidays. It follows twin sisters. One of them is a judge on a baking competition TV show, and the other runs their family bakery back in their small town. But both sisters are going through some shit right now, and so they decide to swap lives and tell nobody, obviously. So they do so, and of course things go horribly wrong and very complicated. Both sisters end up falling in love with somebody while pretending to be somebody else, which will of course lead to a gigantic mess to clean up. So this one was a whole lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I loved how prominent the family aspects were. I love when romance novels have a strong family element to it, or strong friendships, just something other than the romance, just to give it some more substance. So I love that about this one. It was just a whole lot of fun. I love the settings especially. The one sister lives in LA, so not a great setting, but the other one who owns the bakery, she lives in that really small town, I think in Northern California. So it gets very snowy and there's lots of baking happening, so I loved that setting. And all the characters were so much fun in this one, and overall I really enjoyed it, and I ended up giving it a 3-star. It's not going to be one that I'm going to think about for a long time or anything, but it was a great holiday romance read and I would definitely recommend it. After that I read Well Played by DeLuca, which is the second book in the Well Met series. This one is a series of companion novels that is set around a Renaissance fair that happens in this small town every summer. Book 2 I was not planning on reading, but then I ended up having to read it because of a punishment from an Operation TBR game, and I knew that I wasn't gonna like this one, and it wasn't that bad, but I just can't get around the trope. This one is a catfishing trope. It follows our main character who has been hooking up with this one guy from the Ren Fair for a couple of years. He only comes around for the summers. And one night she sends him a very drunk message saying that she's maybe caught feelings for him and she wants to get to know him better. And she receives this really heartfelt response to it, which she thinks is weird because, this guy's not a very sentimental kind of guy. But she was so happy about it, and they end up texting back and forth for literally months, getting to know each other and falling in love. And then when next summer rolls around, she learns that she was not actually talking to who she thought that she was talking to, which just feels so creepy and skeezy and non-consensual, and I just, ugh, it does not sit well with me at all. I do not like this trope whatsoever, and I knew that I wasn't going to, but I'm glad that I'm at least caught up with the series now, I guess. But this one I gave 2 stars. The writing was still really good and everything. It's just this trope. It's nothing to do with the series as a whole. I think the series is very fun. It's just this one specific trope that I can't stand. It just feels so gross to read. After that I read Royal Holiday by Jasmine Guillory, which might be one of my new favorite romance novels of all time. This was such a good time. This one is also a adult contemporary romance set around the holidays. So this one follows our main character whose daughter is a stylist, and she gets the job of a lifetime where she gets to go to England for the holidays to style a princess or a duchess, somebody, and she asks her mother, who's the main character, to come along. So of course she says yes, and off they go. And then the main character ends up falling in love with the queen's security guard, I think it is. Whatever his job is, he's very close to the queen, but they meet and fall in love, and it was just the cutest thing ever. I loved this book so much. I had never read a more mature romance before. I had never read anybody who was older than their early 40s at the latest, but both these characters are in their 50s, I think it was, and that was just so nice to read. And again, with the strong family elements in here, both characters characters in here were very close to their families, and I loved reading that. It just makes it feel a lot more interesting. And like overall, this one was just so good. The atmosphere was fantastic. This one made me miss traveling so much, and like all of the elements in here were just so sweet, and the romance was wonderful, and like I just loved everything about it. I gave it a 4 stars, and like I had no plans on reading the rest of this series, but after reading this one, I think I might have to read the rest of them. But there's like 6 books, so it's kind of a commitment, but I kind of want to do it because like this one was so good. Now these next 2 is where things get a little bit spicy. Kindle Unlimited was doing a like 3-month subscription for only $1, so I was like, fuck yeah, I want to do that. And then my plan was to do a week-long reading vlog where I read a whole bunch of like spicy Christmas romances, which I did start doing that, but then I got really busy and then I only read 2 of them. So that vlog was scratched, unfortunately. It would have been so much fun, but I just didn't have time to continue with it. But I did read 2 books from there. The first one was The Naughty List by Ellie MacGreggor, and this one was so much fun. Basically, it's a Santa Claus romance, but like it's actually Santa Claus. Before you judge me, let me explain. The female lead has recently got divorced, and this is supposed to be her first Christmas with her kids and minus her husband. But her husband is a dickbag and like took her kids on this surprise cruise just because he wanted her to be alone for Christmas. So she still wants to have a good night, so she gets all dressed up in her hottest lingerie and is just lounging around on Christmas Eve just feeling hot, reading her own spicy romance books on the couch. And how the Santa thing works, he's not some old crusty magical man. He is a magical man. He is literally Santa Claus, but it's like a generational thing, so he's like actually around her age. He's the newest Santa Claus, so he's not some old man, don't worry. This one was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It was just so stupid. I did end up giving it a 3.5 because like there's literally no plot to it. It's just kinky Santa sex. So like it's hard to get that one higher than like a 3-star. I gave it 3.5 because it was so much fun. Also too, my one issue with it, as fun as this was, there was not enough BDSM. You know, I was promised a BDSM romance and like it was kind of there. It was weird because like the smut scene started off being really kinky because it was like we're starting off like up here and it's like we can only go up from here obviously, but then it didn't really. It got more like sentimental and emotional, which I still really enjoyed, but like I was looking for a BDSM Santa romance novel, so I was a little bit let down there with the lack of BDSM, but either way it was still a good time. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one. This one was like 56 pages I think it was, so it was very short. I think I read it in like half an hour, so it was just a really fun time. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I would like to read more similar books to this just because they're just really entertaining, and sometimes I just need a break from like heavy fantasy, you know? Which brings us to our next one, which was Dipped in Holly by Dana Isili. I have no idea how to say this name, I'm very sorry. This one is actually BDSM, like a lot. Like this one had me blushing, and I don't blush easily. But this one takes place in a bar where our main character, who is this like 20-something-year-old, she's very young, she's at this bar, and I think she found out that her boyfriend was cheating on her, or he just like dumped her, something like that. Either way, she's like in the bathroom crying, and the owner of the bar is like, "You good?" And she's like, no. And seeing this pretty girl crying activates his like daddy dom mode, and he puts on this whole display of like making out with her in front of her ex-boyfriend. And then things go from there. They end up spending the night together, and it is kinky as fuck. They used some Christmas lights as bondage. Like, it was great. This one was excellent. It wasn't as fun as the Santa Claus one, but it was a lot kinkier. So like pros and cons, I guess. So I also gave it 3.5 stars. I liked it equally as the other one, just again for different reasons. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. And again, I would love to read more of these books because they are just such a good time. So I will definitely be utilizing Kindle Unlimited over the next few months. So I'm sorry in advance if you don't want that kind of content, but it's coming. I'm sorry. And then the last book that I read for December was A Spindle Splintered by Alix Harrow. This is the author of The 10,000 Doors of January, which is one of my favorite books of all time. So I was hyped for this book. This one is a retelling, reimagining kind of thing of Sleeping Beauty. It follows our main character who has this disease, and nobody with this disease has ever lived past the age of 21. So on her 21st birthday, her best friend throws her a Sleeping Beauty themed birthday party because she's been obsessed with this fairy tale her entire life because she relates to it so much. But then at the stroke of midnight, she goes to prick her finger on the spinning wheel, and she is transported into this multiverse where she sees a whole bunch of different Sleeping Beauties from different dimensions and portal worlds and all these things, and she's like, what the fuck is happening here? She ends up going into one of these portal worlds, and then our story goes from there. It was really weird and not at all where I thought it was gonna go. I knew that it was a portal thing, but I did not expect it to be a multiverse. That was really fun. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. It was just really fun and whimsical, and like the main characters had like some really good sarcastic humor, which I really appreciate. It wasn't like the best thing that I've ever read in my life, but like in terms of the concept, I just had such a good time with it. Like this book was written for me, basically. It just has so many elements that I really love, like the fairy tales, the portal stuff, the multiverse, like all of these things. It was also very queer and sapphic, and just it had fantastic side characters, found family elements to it. It had that trope of like this ragtag group of misfits all working together for a common good, which is just one of my favorite tropes ever. I love it so much. And like just everything about it was so perfectly suited for me. It had all of my favorite things in it, and yeah, I just love this one. I might end up doing a like full review for it because I would love to talk about this book some more. It was very short. It was 130 pages or so, but like there was so much packed into there that I could write like a full essay just talking about this book and like all the different elements to it. I loved it. It was such a good time. I can definitely see why it wouldn't be for everybody, but in terms of me and my personal preferences for books, this is just phenomenal, and I would highly recommend it. So those are all the books that I read in December. I did want to try and read some more holiday stuff, but I just didn't have the time to. I might still read a few more now that it's January, but we'll see. I have a pretty like fantasy heavy TBR this month, so I kind of want to break it up with some romance a little bit here and there. So maybe I'll pick up a few more holiday romances. We'll see. But let me know down in the comments what you read in December. I would love to hear your thoughts, or if you've read any of these books, let me know. But in the meantime, that'll do it for today's video. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're having a fantastic day wherever you are in the world, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye!